since it is a very complex matter which is being resolved for the first time in this.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Current Issues. My name is Vineet Malhotra. So after much deliberations, the council chaired by the Union Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has finally decided to fix the 5% duty on mass consumption items and a 28% rate on items such as packaged consumer goods. The good news is that the food items which presently nearly constitute half the CPI consumer inflation basket will be taxed at zero rate. But there is a catch there as well. The ultra-luxurious goods will have an additional cess for 5 years from now on top of the 28% which is proposed. The revenue generated from this cess will be given to states as compensation. But there are, of course, broader issues that we have to talk about as well. Inflation, for example, has been the biggest concern for the government so far. Can the government say this with panache that the 4-tier GST slab will curb inflation? And the idea of introducing GST originally was one nation, one tax. So will this different rate structure ease the taxation regime or make it even more complex? Because we don't even know what products will go into what categories. And on this note, let me introduce the guest who will be talking to us and talking to our viewers and explaining and decoding and deciphering what the GST is all about, what are the pitfalls, what are the benefits, and why is GST important for a country as diverse and as complex as India. Sharad Kohli, business analyst, is with me in the studio. Sharad, thank you so much for joining us. Zafar Syed, spokesperson for the BJP, is with us. Sir, thank you for joining us. SP Sharma, chief economist and of course PhD from the Chamber of Commerce, is with us as well. And Dr. Hilal Ahmed Naqvi, spokesperson for the Congress Party, is with us. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Sharad, I will start with you. You're with me in the studio. One state, one country, one tax. 4 slabs, which I have heard of. But before the show, when I was talking to you, you told me there are not 4, there are about 7 different rates which have been proposed by the government. Okay, explain this to me like I'm a 10-year-old. This tax was supposed to simplify things, but from whatever I have read, it only confuses me.
Vinny, the complications were far beyond the number of rates. So when I said 7 rates before the program, here are the 7 rates. We start with a 0%, and the finance minister was very clear in specifying that it's not exempt, it's 0%. I'm sure somebody would like to ask what is the difference.
What is the difference for a layman?
The difference is when you call a category as exempt, you need a very complicated promulgation to go through to put it from exempt to a rate category. By putting it at 0, effectively you're putting it as exempt, but it will be easy for you to put it in a taxable category at some point of time in future. So 0 is the first, then comes the gold rate, which is likely to be between 2 and 4% as indicated by the finance minister yesterday. Then comes the 5%, which is the common use items. Then come the 2 standard rates, the 12% and the 18%, the lower standard rate and the upper standard rate. Thereafter, you move to the 28%, which is the white goods. And then there is the sin goods, the demerit goods, on which there's going to be a cess. So there's going to be 28% plus the cess, which can go up to 40%. So we are looking at 7 rates, but you know, we need in a country as complex.
But Sharad, when you have a 28% slab, why is there a cess on it?
No, because
couldn't it be 32%, 35%, or even 40%?
See, there are at least 4 items which the finance minister named. Okay. One was tobacco, where we need to discourage the consumption.
Okay, that is understood.
One was aerated drinks, which is again, you know, it's not a necessity, it's a luxury which somebody. Then comes the luxury cars. If somebody who can afford a car worth 50 lakhs can also pay 55 lakhs, so why not take away a bit of money from them and give it for the benefit of the lower.
Okay. Let me come back to you. Let me also get an opening remark from Mr. Zafar Syed. Sir, the GST, the same question that I asked Sharad, I'll pose that same question to you, sir. The GST was supposed to make this tax regime simpler, but according to experts, it's only going to make the market more diverse. It's only going to confuse the consumer, and it's going to become even more complex than it already is. Your thoughts, sir?
No, I disagree with whatever you said just now, that it will not confuse. In fact, on the contrary, the business community and the market has welcomed it, and they see it as a very progressive move because the one thing which is very clear that while it's not a one rate, there are 4, 5, whatever rates the structure has been defined, and whatever rates is there, whether it's 0, 5, or to be decided for the gold, 2 or 4, whatever could be the rate, and 5 and the other 4 slash 5, 12, 18 and 28, and then cess over on the top of those 28%. But you must see the intent behind having this rate structure is clearly one thing. The focus was the common man. Common man should not suffer, and that it should not be inflationary, because all the people who had it concern that once the rate will get finalized, it will have inflationary impact. But given the structure which has been proposed, it will negate those concerns which people in the market which had, and that's why everybody in the market has given a thumbs up to this structure, because it will ensure that common man will not suffer there, it will not hit their pocket, and they will not have to spend more to buy the goods which they are buying and the services they are.
Okay, Mr. S.P. Sharma, let me come back to you. Now that the rates have been finalized, the GST has been deliberated upon for a long time. There were problems in passing it. The rates have been finalized. Do you think now the bigger problem for the officers would be to force fit the product list that they have been given into all these 4 classifications, or like Sharad said, all these 7 classifications?
Firstly, we appreciate and congratulate the government for a major breakthrough in the GST, and we believe GST will boost up the economy by 2 percentage points in the coming times. But rates are very rational, but there is something that is problematic and that can have some impact on the rural segment. That is the 28% tax on the white goods. That may be counterproductive for the rural segment, for the demand in the rural segments, because lot of demand in the white goods is happening in the rural segments, and 28% tax on the white goods segment can have a cascading impact on the consumer goods segment, and ultimately impact on the manufacturing process. As we have a major focus on our Make in India program, and we want to invite investments in the to manufacturing in India, majorly the electronics goods. But 28% tax on the white goods can have impact on the consumer segment and demand in the economy, and finally manufacturing process. Otherwise, GST is designed in a very good manner, and we appreciate the government's effort for the breakthrough in GST.
Okay, Sharad wanted to come in, but before that, I want to get an opening remark from Dr. Naqvi. Dr. Naqvi, the GST was anticipated to make the tax regime a lot more simple, but just now Mr. Sharma mentioned that the rural economy will probably suffer, because white goods such as LED TVs and cars, they will also be taxed very highly. It's a growing economy. It's a promising GDP. The world wants to invest in India. Do you see that as a threat, to the growing middle class and the rural class which wants to come up?
Vineet, I have got few observations regarding GST, because till now they have not decided which items will come under which category. But more or less whatever Finance Minister has said, what I have understood is that first and foremost is that as far as the luxury goods are concerned, they have messed up with it. Like if they want to go for the higher taxes for the luxury goods, then here there should be a clear-cut differentiation, because under white goods computers also come, and computers can never be luxury goods. Computers have become more or less a necessity for each and every citizen in India, and as far as the growth of the India is concerned, it is just because of the software and the computer which was available on a very cheap rates. Now it will be taxed on a higher slab. If they wanted to bring in the slabs, 4 slabs, then it should have been like this: 5, 12, 18. 18 should be the maximum one. After that, the luxury goods. Luxury goods should be categorized, for example, heavy duty ACs, SUVs, high-end cars. These things should go for the luxury goods, and there they can tax around 40 to 45% even. And that is what the country is paying for those high-end products of the luxury goods. One thing. And second thing is that Congress has never ever said, or it has never assumed even, that there will be a cess over and above 28% or over and above whatever has been said. Congress has always been against the cess system because it complicates the things much more. And cess is one thing which government can keep on increasing day by day on one name or the other. Presently, it is only on the luxury goods. Later on, it can go for the FMCGs also, fast-moving consumer goods also.
Right.
That is one problem which should have been dealt with more more properly by the finance minister, which is found missing. So these are the concerns which
Right.
Congress has got. And second thing is that I do agree with the thing that presently there is no commodity in India which is not taxable. Because once it is in the bracket of 0 to 5, it can be taxed any time whenever government feels fit. So these are the concerns which Congress has got about whatever GST has, the GST which has come. And one more concern which Congress has always said is that there is no redressal system in this GST system.
Right.
There is absolutely no redressal system. And whatever redressal system has been recommended, that is against the law of the nature, because
Right.
the person who will be accused that he
So
is
Dr.
doing
Naqvi, in a
wrong
sense,
will
what
be the
you're
judge
saying-
for the same thing. So these are the observations which we have to make.
Dr. Naqvi, in a sense, what you're saying, and Sharad, I want you to respond to that, that the system, the GST system is inflexible and it is dictatorial.
I would like to clarify, Vineet, here. First, Mr. S.P. Sharma, he spoke about white goods being used by the rural community, which is very correct. But then what I would like to clarify that the white goods currently, if you include the excise and the VAT, the total amount is about 30%. So moving from 30% to 28% would be a step in a better direction. Secondly, what Dr. Hilal Naqvi spoke about computers. So computers, again, they fall in the white good category and they are all taxed between 30-31%. So if they are moved to from 31 to 28, again, it's a step in the positive direction. Moreover, the finance minister clarified yesterday that when he's lowered the tax from 6 to 5 and he's moved from 26 to 28 as was the original proposal, he's left a margin for some of the goods falling in 28% category to move down to 18% category. So there is a room for improvement there, and right now they haven't been pegged into the relevant categories. So it's a bit premature to say that so and so good would be taxed more, so and so good would be taxed less. It is not going to be like that.
Okay, let me go to Zafar Syed and figure out the question which has probably been lingering on for a long time, and the BJP, is tired of answering this question, and that question relates to black money, Mr. Syed. Do you think GST is probably one step in the right direction to curb and cope, with this devil we call black money? Mr. Syed.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't hear you earlier. You please complete your question.
Mr. Syed, the question I want to know is that the GST, how will it help in curbing and controlling black money? Now, that is a topic which has been, very sensitive for the BJP. That's probably one leverage point that the opposition and a lot of other parties have also used against you. How will GST help curb and cope the evil of black money?
See, before coming to black money, let me just respond to what the Congress spokesperson was talking about. Partly it has been clarified very clearly by one of the panelists that about the white goods and the applicable rates.
Right.
Secondly, you must understand that the intent of our government, that he is talking about Congress. You must understand that even though very few states where you have left as where you are ruling, but even those finance minister of the state where Congress is ruling have been part of this GST council, and there is a complete consensus in terms of the rates and the structure, GST structure. So raising this kind of question now, it looks only that he has not done his homework and he has not been briefed by his own party men and the party by what is the stand party is taking and what he has not been updated. Clearly, there is a clear-cut understanding that in the council that the common man and the middle class and the lower middle class should benefit from this GST, entire implementation of GST, because that they should be the beneficiary, and the entire structure which has been proposed is proposed keeping them in mind, and they should have left some money in their pocket rather than spend more money for their normal day-to-day life which they were spending. So that should be that was the objective that has been addressed in this GST structure, and I'm sure most of the analysts either on your panelists or in the marketplace have acknowledged it and given a thumbs up, and that the government's approach and the intent is very correct. Yes, there are some sin tax, there are some additional cess which has to be paid, but those who can afford those taxes and that will offset part of it's tax which has not, which actually shortfall which will be there because of lower tax being charged to on some of the services and the
okay, Mr. Syed, I'm still waiting for you to address the black money question I asked. How will it help in coping the evil of black money, sir?
Yeah. It will, because if you see that these small businessmen they were not paying tax, and because of various complexities they were facing, but now which have one structure which is definitive in nature and clarity in terms of what they need to pay, I'm sure they will all move to GST because that helps them as well, because they want to move something in a very administered regime where you know that there is a clarity and you have to pay that tax. And I'm sure that those who were evading tax earlier will avoid evading taxes and instead will prefer to pay taxes.
Okay, Sharad, you wanted to come in.
Yeah,
I would take that input from you, and then I want to go to Mr. S.P. Sharma.
I just wanted to technically explain, which would have helped Mr. Zafar also to understand how GST will check black money. See, GST is driven on an IT-based system and input tax credit system. So when a manufacturer bills to wholesaler, wholesaler bills to retailer, retailer bills to customer.
Right.
So anybody, you know, the black money market here goes on the kacha bill, pakka bill concept. You go to a shopkeeper and he gives you a visiting card. He doesn't give you a receipt. So anybody breaking this chain for the sake of input credit is going to get caught immediately. So it will be impossible or nearly impossible for any trader to break the chain and collect black money or cash out of a transaction. The moment he does that, it will immediately show on the system, and it will be easy for the enforcement to detect who's the person who's broken the chain and collected cash in return.
Okay, that point actually brings us to a very interesting question. And Mr. S.P. Sharma, compliance is probably one big issue that the government has always pushed and has been very, very stringent about. Do you think compliance is one area that would definitely be GST's problem? Does that leave a lot of loopholes? Does that actually force citizens to comply, or does it actually deter them to comply?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think that there is any anomaly or any gray area in the implementation of GST. GST is very transparent, and it will be implemented in a very transparent way. As mentioned by Sharadji, there is no scope for any loophole in the system, that there can be some black money or any transaction which is not in the system. So I think it will be a major breakthrough to curb the black money in the system. And for the GST rates that I already mentioned, that for the white goods it can be problematic because GST rate is 28%, as mentioned by Sharadji, that already they are paying 30-31% tax in the white goods segment. But I would like to mention that there must be some significant respite for the electronics goods, white goods, from the 30-31% to at the level of 20-23%. So if significant benefit is there, that will boost our so many lucrative policies announced by our Honorable Prime Minister, because our major focus is on Make in India program and to generate demand in the economy.
Right.
Because demand is not there in the economy. So to generate demand, there must be some incentive for the consumers, for the buyers, in terms of tax incentives.
Okay, Sharad, let me come back to you. Dr. Naqvi wanted to come in. Dr. Naqvi, I saw your hand go up, sir. Something you wanted to say when Mr. Zafar Syed was making his point.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that it is good to see that Zafar Syed is defending GST, which they have been opposing it so vehemently when they were in opposition. That is a history. So let's not go into it. But let me make it very clear that when the meeting was held and all the finance ministers were there, that time cess was not discussed. It was not at all discussed. It was announced afterwards when all the rounds of discussions happened, and at that time the proposal of the cess was not there, number one. Number two, as far as the luxury goods is concerned, they have messed up with it. They have messed up with it just to benefit few capitalists, so that they can sell their things at a much cheaper rate at what they were selling earlier. The thing is that as far as the luxury goods are concerned, then all the white goods cannot come under the luxury goods.
Right.
Luxury goods are entirely different thing. White goods are, there are so many white goods which are necessity nowadays, what I have said, like computers. You
Right.
cannot call computer as a luxury good. And just to pegging it up at only 28%, after that giving cess on it, so they have given huge benefit to those industrialists who are making high-end luxury things. Because they will be paying almost the same amount of tax what the low-end luxury things like Maruti car. If I say about Maruti car, now it has been disbanded. Like car of 800cc, they have to pay 28%, and the car of like 1600cc or more than that, and have got all the luxuries, even they have to pay 28%. This is
Okay.
something which is.
I will let
anomaly
Mr. Zafar
in it,
Syed respond
and
to
it
you,
was
but
never
Sharad
discussed
wants
in
to
the
respond to
meeting.
what you're saying. And when we talk about classifications, I'm just going to actually add to what Dr. Naqvi was saying. The classification is another area, Sharad, which seems to be very, very confusing. If we talk about, the tax on hair oil, we talk about tax on Saffola, we talk about, all other kinds of oils, they're going to be, branded under different classifications. How confusing would it be for a layman?
No, first of all, I would like to answer.
Even tax on saloons. Even
Right.
tax on saloons.
So tax on salons, Dr. Naqvi was already there. There was a service tax on salons already. Let me answer the first part of your question. See, there
Yeah,
are four.
service tax was there, but yeah, let me get out it.
So you mentioned about the luxury goods. 4 items have been kept under the sin goods category, which is called the demerit goods. One is tobacco, one is pan masala, one is aerated drinks, and the 4th thing he named was luxury cars. So the luxury cars will be subject to the cess. Cess is going to be 28% plus. So it is likely to be, an estimate is saying it might reach up to 40%, which is fair enough. If somebody who can pay 50 lakhs for a car, as I said, Vineet, will be happy to pay 60 lakhs as well. He's got the capacity to pay. So there is no bias towards the luxury good makers.
But what about someone is paying around 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs on the car? That
that's
also
fine.
comes under the luxuries.
So they are paying 28%.
It is yet to be classified by the government.
They are paying 28%, Dr. Naqvi, and they were already paying more than this. In fact, they will get some kind of a respite.
But that is true. But this is something. But this is something not fair. Someone who is buying a car of 5 lakhs and someone is buying a car of 50 lakhs, and both of them are paying the same tax.
No, they will not be paying
And
the same tax.
just to benefit a few of those capitalists who are making high-end luxury cars, they have been given benefit out of it.
No, they will
and why
not
the
be.
cess has been implemented?
They will not be
I'm
paying
unable
the
to
same.
understand why this cess has come.
Dr.
Just
Naqvi,
to
they-
pay. Just
Okay.
maybe. How do you know? How do you know? It is yet to be cleared by the finance ministry.
Purpose of cess has been clarified, with Mr. Zafar would agree. It's a compensation pool. 50,000 crore rupees is expected to be compensated to the states. That will go out of the cess. Once the amount has been compensated, cess will be removed.
Okay, Sharad, your point brings us to another question. And Mr. S.P. Sharma, service tax is another area. It's probably a grey area for a lot of us. Who's going to collect the service tax? Is it going to be the state? Is it going to be the center? A lot of consumers, a lot of assessees will probably be pondering over this question as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions regarding the service tax, and I would like to mention that some clarity is needed for the service tax, that the states are going to collect the services tax or the center. So I believe there must be some clearance in the coming times that service tax is collected by the state authorities or the central government. But I believe there is no any gray area that is under discussion, that I don't think there is some anomaly in the system. But we have to know in depth all the things, that who is going to pay and who is going to benefit and who is going to gain from the whole implementation of the GST.
Okay, all right. Well, it's time for us to end our show. We don't have much time. Sharad Kohli, you wanted to make a point. Please be brief.
I just want to say that, 30 states and union territories coming together to put their head into one, it's a great step in a positive direction. We've been deliberating it for so many years. Finally, a consensus has come. let us be forward looking. Let us look at the tax positively. In the times to come, we are looking at a developed economy. If we look at other economies, they have really benefited. Why will India not benefit is definitely not in doubt.
Okay, Mr. Syed wants to make a point, but apologies to you, sir. We have run out of time. We don't have too much time. Probably on our next show, we will give you extra time to make your point, but probably not for the same topic. Very sorry, sir. Zafar Syed, SP Sharma, Sharad Kohli, and Dr. Naqvi. Thank you so much for joining us on this debate. It was a pleasure having all four of you. That's all we have on the show. We'll see you Monday. Take care.